6:45. This is the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. The news edited by Danishka Madhavala and read by Lavani Vijayatunga. First, we take a look at the headlines. The second phase of the Central Expressway from Meerigama to Kurunegala, the Athugolpara entrance, was vested with the public. The Litro Gas Company says that the distribution of LP gas has been normalized at present. India reaffirms support for Sri Lanka to overcome economic and other challenges. Inauguration sessions of the 9th Parliament of Sri Lanka will commence on the 18th of this month. The Grade 5 scholarship examination will be held on the 22nd of this month. A parcel containing 4,000 narcotic tablets received from overseas has been detected by custom officials at the Central Mail Exchange. In news overseas, bad weather caused India's top commander Bipin Rawat's chopper crash. And in sports news, Virat Kohli steps down as India's test captain. Those are the headlines, and now we move on to the details of the local news. The second phase of the Central Expressway from Meerigama to Kurunegala, the Athugolpara entrance, was vested with the public. The ceremonial ribbon was cut by President Gotabaya Rajapaksa and Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa, declaring open the 40.91 kilometre stretch with the public. Several dignitaries, ministers and the public were present at the occasion. The President was the first to enter the expressway in a vehicle driven by Minister Nama Rajapaksa, while Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa was the second to enter the Meerigama-Kurunegala stretch in a vehicle driven by Minister Johnston Fernando. Built to minimize environmental and social impacts, the expressway will bypass urban areas and pass through mainly vacant land. The 4-lane section of the road from Meerigama to Kurunegala is introduced as the most beautiful expressway section in the country. The Central Expressway segment from Meerigama to Kurunegala includes 5 interchanges with toll counters at Meerigama, Nakalagamua, Damboka, Kurunegala and Yaggahapitiya. This section of the road was constructed by local contractors with local funds at a cost of 137 billion rupees. The 4-lane Colombo-Kandy Central Expressway is being completed under 4 segments. This first quarter is from Kadawatha to Meerigama, spanning 37.09 kilometers. The second quarter from Meerigama to Kurunegala, spanning 40.91 kilometers. The access road is 9.7 kilometers running up to Ambepusa, and the third quarter from Kurunegala, Podhara to Galagedara, spanning 32.5 kilometers, and the fourth quarter is from Kurunegala to Dambulla, that would be in 60.3 kilometers in length. The Litro Gas Company says that the distribution of LP gas has been normalized at present. The company says that the domestic LP gas distribution process has been restored at present. The company urges the customers not to purchase gas for higher prices. The gas cylinders will be distributed for small-scale outlets by this week. Indian External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar says both countries should adhere to friendly bilateral economic relations as close associates living in nearer territories. Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar held a virtual meeting with Finance Minister Rajapaksa yesterday. At the meeting, both sides have exchanged New Year greetings and conveyed wishes on the festival of Thai Pongal, celebrated both in India and Sri Lanka. The Indian minister has also pledged to help Sri Lanka to overcome the current economic challenges under the SAARC currency swap arrangement. The currency swap has made an extension of $400 million to Sri Lanka and provided a deferral of Asian Clearing Union settlement of $515.2 million by 2 months. It is reported that the two ministers also reviewed the progress in extending the Indian credit facility of $1 billion for importing food, essential items and medicines, and $500 million for importing fuel from India. Minister Jaishankar said that India would continue to extend a helping hand to Sri Lanka amid these tough times of COVID-19 pandemic. The two ministers have also agreed to remain in close touch for guiding mutually beneficial bilateral economic cooperation towards long-term economic partnership for shared progress and prosperity to make a win-win situation for both countries. This is the news from the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. And we continue with more local news. Inauguration of the Session of the 9th Parliament of Sri Lanka will commence under the patronage of President Gotabaya Rajapaksa on the 18th of this month. The policy statement of the President will also be presented on the same day. A debate on the speech will be held on the 19th and the 20th. A special rehearsal will take place today within the parliamentary complex in preparation of the inauguration session. The Grade 5 scholarship examination will be held on the 22nd of this month. The Department of Examination rules that it is prohibited to conduct or organize tuition classes after midnight on the 18th of January. The department also said GC advanced level examinations is scheduled to be commencing on the 7th of February and concludes on the 5th of March. Conducting tuition classes for A-level classes will also be banned from the 1st of February. It is also prohibited to conduct seminars and any supportive educational activities throughout the period, the department added. A parcel containing 4,000 narcotic tablets sent from overseas has been detected by the custom officials at the Central Mail Exchange yesterday. One suspect was taken into custody in connection with the incident, the customs spokesman said. The parcel sent from the Netherlands has been addressed to an individual residing in Colombo. However, the individual who arrived at the Central Mail Exchange to claim the parcel was taken into custody by the police. Police Narcotics Bureau is conducting further investigations into the matter. And to conclude the local news, the headlines once again. The second phase of the Central Expressway from Meerigama to Kurunegala, the Athugalpura entrance, was vested with the public. The Litro Gas Company says that the distribution of LP gas has been normalized at present. India reaffirms support for Sri Lanka to overcome the economic and other challenges. Inauguration session of the 9th Parliament of Sri Lanka will commence on the 18th of this month. The Grade 5 scholarship examination will be held on the 22nd of this month. A parcel containing 4,000 narcotic tablets sent from overseas has been detected by the customs officials at the Central Mail Exchange. And that was the local news.
The main news story is brought to you by Siddhalepa Vedamahatmya.
The main news story for this morning, the director of the Allergy, Immunology and Cell Biology Unit of the University of Sri Javaradhanapura, Dr. Shantima Jivendra says that it is important to obtain the booster vaccine dose in order to protect one from contracting the Omicron variant of the coronavirus. Dr. Jivendra, speaking at a media briefing yesterday, said a booster dose builds immunity fivefold in comparison to the first two vaccine doses. Dr. Jivendra also said while the efficacy of the vaccines in long-term illnesses is lesser, the current vaccine dose prevents serious illness. He noted that hospitalization of an individual with Omicron with one vaccine dose is 54% less, 64% in an individual with two vaccine doses between a period of 2 to 24 weeks and 44% after a 25-week period since obtaining the vaccines. And that was the main news story.
The main news story was brought to you by Siddhalepa Vedamahatmya.
And in Washala this morning, dengue infection cases have reached an alarming high this year, raising the concerns all across the country. Health authorities continue to urge people to take all preventive measures. It is reported that a large number of mosquito breeding grounds are still seen in school premises as the schools were reopened after a long COVID vacation and the surroundings are yet to be cleaned. Health authorities warn both adults and kids can be affected by severe dengue. They added if they had previously been infected with one of the strain of the virus and developed immunity against it, they can still become infected again with a different strain. And that came to you in Watchlight.
Coming up, World News.
Headlines of the world news. Getaway from shore, US and Japan warn on tsunami. Lead or step aside, senior Tory says Boris Johnson. Bad weather caused India's top commander Bipin Rawat's chopper crash. Those are the headlines, and now we move on to the details of the world news. The US and Japan have advised people on their Pacific coastlines to get away from the shore as a precaution against tsunami waves caused by a volcanic eruption in the South Pacific. Japan has warned of waves as high as 3 meters and waves of 1.2 meters hit the south of the country. The US warned of strong currents and waves and coastal flooding. The huge underwater volcanic eruption caused waves of more than a meter to crash into Tonga. The eruption of Hungaka'apai volcano was heard across the South Pacific and eventually as far as the US. Many parts of Tonga, whose capital is just 65 kilometers south of the eruption, are covered in ash and are experiencing a near total blackout of power lines, phone lines, and internet services. The extent of any injuries or damage is still unclear. Boris Johnson must lead or step aside, a senior Tory and former minister told the BBC. Tobias Ellwood, who chairs the Defence Select Committee, said, "We need leadership," following reports of parties being held in Downing Street while COVID restrictions were in place. It comes as hundreds of angry constituents contacted their MPs. The government has urged people to reserve judgment until senior civil servant Sue Gray's inquiry is over. But Andrew Bridgen, Conservative MP for the North West Leicestershire, said he does not need to wait for Ms Gray's investigations to know that Prime Minister has lost the moral authority to lead the country. Mr Bridgen became the 5th Conservative MP to publicly declare they had written to the chairman of the 1922 committee, which organises Tory leadership contests, to say they have no confidence in the Prime Minister. 54 Conservative MPs have to write a letter to trigger a vote. A helicopter crash that had killed head of India's armed forces and 13 others was caused by a pilot being disoriented by a sudden turn in the weather. General Bipin Rawat was among those killed when a chopper hit a hillside and burst into flames in the Tamil Nadu state in December. Conspiracy theories about the accident have been shared on social media, but the government said it had ruled out mechanical failure, sabotage or negligence as a cause of the crash. It said the aircraft has flown into clouds, causing spatial disorientation of the pilot, flew into it and to the ground. The government said it had looked at flight data, cockpit recordings, as well as questioning witnesses to come to its findings. And to conclude the world news, the headlines once again. Get away from shore, US and Japan warn on tsunami. Lead or step aside, senior Tory Ellwood says to Boris Johnson. Bad weather caused India's top commander Bipin Rawat's chopper crash. And that was the world news.
Development News is brought to you by Let's take all out of the coconut tree and make the island thriving and prosperous. Call our hotline 1928. WhatsApp 070 400 1928.
And in development news, a new bridge will be constructed at Pattiripu in the Batticular district. State Minister Sadasivam Vyalendran said that the new bridge would replace the existing old broken bridge. The Road Development Authority has already prepared plans for the venture and the construction works will be commenced shortly. The estimated cost of the project is 1 billion rupees. The new bridge will be 165 meters long and 10.5 meters wide. And that came to you in the segment of Development News.
Development News was brought to you by the coconut tree is well grown in almost all the parts of the island. It is an exceptional source of extra income. The shell, the husk and almost all the parts of the coconut tree makes you money, providing you with an excellent extra source of income. It will also help to nourish the economy of the country. You will be guided with all necessary informations regarding the coconut cultivation, with the novel cultivation techniques and all other related and upgraded informations by the Coconut Research Institute, Lunavilla. Call our hotline 1928. WhatsApp 070 400 1928.
Cash through NSP globally.
Moving on to sports news, Virat Kohli has stepped down as the captain of India's men's test team. The 33-year-old who stopped leading India's limited overs sides last year had led the test side since 2015. He captained India in a record-breaking 68 tests, winning 44 matches, the fourth best record any test captain in history. Kohli's announcement came a day after India's 7-wicket loss to South Africa in Cape Town, consigning the visitors to a 2-1 series defeat. He has played 99 tests in total, averaging 50.39 in the longer format with 27 centuries. In 2021, Kohli led India to the final of the inaugural World Test Championship, losing to New Zealand in Southampton. That was the sports news. Business news coming up.
Cash through NSP globally and win wonderful gifts locally. From October 1st, 2021 to December 31st, 2022. Remit a minimum of $100 or an equivalent amount in any foreign currency 3 times through NSB U Trust.
Business news sponsored by National Savings Bank, the safest place for your money.
In business news, Hiller Clothing, an end-to-end apparel supply chain solutions provider with strong presence in the African continent, commenced operations in Egypt, enabling access to some of the largest markets in Europe and the US. This was according to a senior official of the company. Wrapping up an investor forum ahead of the initial public offering of Heller Apparel Holdings, Group CEO of Heller Apparel Clothing, Lanka said the company had secured the import-export license and would commence shipping to the first orders very soon. That was the business news. Economic news follows.
Business news sponsored by
Cash through NSP globally and win wonderful gifts locally. Will you be the lucky winner of the NSP Golden Jubilee? 50 gold sovereigns for the top prize winner of the NSP Golden Jubilee. Scooters for the 10 second prize winners. iPhones for the 10 third prize winners. Mountain bikes for the 29 fourth prize winners. From October 1st, 2021 to December 31st, 2022. Remit a minimum of $100 or an equivalent amount in any foreign currency 3 times through NSB U Trust.
Economic news, courtesy of
Saving money isn't easy when you have responsibility. That's why we promise to give you the best returns and guarantee on your investment. LOLC Finance Fixed Deposits. Maximize your savings. LOLC Finance PLC, incorporated on the 13th of December 2001, is rated SLA stable by ICRA Lanka Limited and is licensed by the Monetary Board of the Central Bank of Sri Lanka under the Finance Business Act number 42 of 2011.
And in economic news, the construction industry, which is a pivotal cog of the economy, is in dire straits due to the staggering import cost of construction material triggered by the dearth of labourers, rising labour cost and the extension of construction deadlines, which has added to the construction cost, said a top official of the Chamber of Construction Industry Sri Lanka last week. Construction costs had shot up by 30 to 40% due to the issues triggered by the global pandemic that led to the construction delays, rising in import cost of materials and absence of workers at the construction sites, said the CCI Secretary General and CEO Nisanka Vijayaratna. According to the construction industry experts, the industry would take a considerable time to bounce back to the pre-pandemic level to support the labour force and the economy. That was economic news and the weather report to conclude.
I bought my daughter a laptop for her work by managing my finances. Whatever the expenses may be, I can't afford to miss out on life's special moments like her birthday or our anniversary. So you need to invest to make your family's future flourish.
Saving money isn't easy when you have responsibilities. That's why we promise to give you the best returns on your investment. LOLC Finance Fixed Deposits. Maximize your savings. LOLC Finance PLC, incorporated on the 13th of December 2001, is rated SLA stable by ICRA Lanka Limited and is licensed by the Monetary Board of the Central Bank of Sri Lanka under the Finance Business Act number 42 of 2011.
The weather report.
And finally, the weather report. Several spells of showers will occur in the eastern, Uva and north central provinces and in the Maltale district. Showers or thunder showers will occur at several places in the Sabaragamuwa and western province and in the Gaul, Mathura, Kandy and Nuwara area districts after 2 p.m. Fairly heavy showers above 50 millimeters may occur at some places in the Sabaragamuwa province and in the Kalathura, Gaul and Mathura districts. General public is kindly requested to take adequate precautions to minimize damages caused by temporary localized strong winds and lightning during thunder showers. And before we conclude this bulletin of news, let's get back to the headlines once again. The second phase of the Central Expressway from Meerigama to Kurunagala, the Athugalpura entrance, was vested with the public. The Litro Gas Company says that the distribution of LP gas has been normalized at present. India reaffirms support to Sri Lanka to overcome the economic and other challenges. Inauguration of the sessions of the 9th Parliament of Sri Lanka will commence on the 18th of this month. The Grade 5 scholarship examination will be held on the 22nd of this month. A parcel containing 4,000 narcotic tablets sent from overseas has been detected by the customs officials at the Central Mail Exchange. In news overseas, bad weather caused India's top commander Bipin Rawat's chopper crash. And in sports news, Virat Kohli steps down as India's test captain. And with that, we conclude this bulletin of news.